Hello, welcome to August 13th, 2022. I'm Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation. I do this video every morning to remember and remind myself and to go over and work on my life objectives and principles, and to see how I did yesterday and to plan for the coming day. To see how I did particularly relative to these objectives and principles, that's what the aim is. Because these are my North Star focus and my guides along the way. So I need to see if I was able to utilize these with the challenges and opportunities in the last 24 hours. So I'm a happy guy. I slept until the alarm this morning. I did wake up several times throughout the night, which I think is asking too much to have a solid night's sleep. When I was a younger man, I always slept all the way to morning. From the moment I put my head on the pillow till the moment the alarm went off, I always woke up, and I usually just minutes or seconds before the alarm would go off, I just wake up of my own volition. But despite a few times I got up in the middle of the night, kind of the half dreamy wakiness, I slept until the alarm went off. Then I turned it off and I slept for another 15 minutes. I don't feel necessarily rested, but maybe it's just because the coffee hasn't kicked in. But I do feel good. I do feel like it was a really good night's sleep. And I know why. I am more and more convinced that my sleep issues are related to work. It's because I spent even though I had the day off yesterday, it's a Friday, it was my Friday off. I get every other Friday off. I got up in the morning and I did 3 hours of work that I knew would put me in a good place at work. It would put me over the finish line with a deliverable that I made up for myself, and I think is going to really alleviate a lot of stress for me or worry. And I did it, and it came out really good. I'm very pleased with the results. I think that's why I slept. So the sleep problem definitely seems to be related to work. Other than that, it was a great day on all fronts. I was able to do some work on my website yesterday. I updated my Going Alone with some new language that I wanted to add to it, some new phrases and some not vocabulary, but just I had a couple of sentences, a couple of phrases that I knew would fit nicely. Things that I had made up along the way while sitting here. I added those. Then I finished Benito Cereno by Herman Melville. I was only like 5 pages away from being done, and I finished that. I'll probably do a review of that today, maybe after this video. And then I did. I read. This is a very short story, like 5 pages. I read The Lightning Rod Man by Herman Melville. Very interesting. Left me with lots to think about on that one. Both stories. And then I went out. I took my wife's car. I went out and I got a haircut. Then I got my wife's car's got a smog check to make sure that it's within emission standards. Then I went to AAA and got her registration. Bless you. Taken care of. And then I stopped by while I was in Hemet doing that. That's where the AAA office was. I went to the cemetery in San Jacinto and visited my grandparents. And I sat with them. They've been dead. Grandpa's been dead 50 years and grandma about 40. And then after that, I sat with them. I didn't after that. I sat with them. And I told them, literally spoke out loud, the story of the last 50 years for our family. I told them about what their daughter, my mother, has been up to, what I've been up to, and what my brother has been up to, and our families. And then I read them chapter 1 of Going Alone. I know I was just reading into the void, reading to the grass. I like that. That's all I was doing. But I liked it. It felt good. And You know what made me think about them also? Caused me to remember Grandma and Grandpa. Such things, such events really are for the living, aren't they? Wonder what their graves will be like 10,000 years from now. Certainly they won't be sitting there occupying. I mean, together those graves occupy, 12 square feet of real estate on the earth. What is there of that? Makes you wonder what happened to all the remains of the billions of humans who went before. They're just dissolved in nothing, aren't they? I mean, if you just go look at even a place as hallowed and consecrated as Westminster Abbey. If you just dig a stone wall there, and on the grounds there around the abbey, around the church, you'll dig up human bones everywhere. They're just there until they're not there. Okay, so that was pretty much my day yesterday. It was a good day. Let's do the good life. My 7 objectives are as follows. To always be ready to die. To have my affairs, my relationships, and my life's work in order. Number 2 is to make good and effective use of my time. To not let my moments slip away, unleveraged, unutilized, and unattended. I like that. 3 is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. That's what I'm doing right now, working on my good life creed. 4, to cultivate good emotional reactions. To become a person who responds well to the challenges of my mental equanimity. The next one is the performance of good actions, just to do good things throughout the day. I think that's number 5. Number 6 is to recognize my true limits and my true opportunities, and to apply apathy to the places which are outside of my reach. Could I say reach or interest, perhaps? And then lastly, to do just one thing at a time, and to do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. Okay, now my 31 principles are as follows. 1, the principle of war, to always be fighting against what I think is true. 2, the principle of reason, and the sub-principles of honesty, objectivity, and doubt, to always be clear, focused. Clear, no, focus isn't the word. Clear, truthful, and skeptical. Good. Next is the homunculus, the suggestion that I do not have a soul. There's no evidence or any good reason to think that's the case. But I do have a consciousness that I get to have for these few decades. Who knows how much time is left? But at least I've got 58 years under my belt. It's a good run. And then comes the Anchorhold, the emphasis that my consciousness is mortal and is subject to wink out when I die. And there's nothing in me that seems that will survive my death other than my atoms, and the energy maybe that'll get dissolved away, burnt away when I'm cremated. Okay, then comes the home of good and evil. Reminder that right and wrong, good and evil are just mere opinions. They're subjective. There's no absolute right or wrong in the universe, no objective good and bad. That's why it's important to think and talk and reach agreement with others about what constitutes right and wrong in our society, and to be ready to change that if we have better information and more interesting results, informative results. Next comes the principle of purpose, and the reminder that my purpose are three. 1, to be a good husband and father. 2, to be a virtuous human being, pursuing the well-being of thinking creatures. And 3, to pursue my own personal ambition, which is the sharing of the story of going alone and the resulting good life creed. Next comes the principle of called the atomic principle. Just a simple suggestion that everything is made of bits and pieces, atoms and molecules, and subject to fall apart. 2 of those constitute pieces. Then comes the principle of nature. Everything has some particular nature, including human beings. And it's good to recognize what that nature is and to live in accord with that. And then the pirate ride. A reminder that free will appears to be an illusion. It's just a very convincing illusion. The universe seems to be, again, I don't know if I want to use, like I said a couple of days ago, I don't know if I want to use the word deterministic, because I think the quantum uncertainty makes it hard to say that every event that has and will happen was determined at the Big Bang. It's hard to say that. I think it's impossible to say that, given the fact that we don't that the quantum world seems to elude doesn't seem to follow necessary rules, or at least rules that we don't understand thus far. Maybe more compatible. Our lives are compatible with the circumstance. I don't know that the universe would replay in the same way if it could, but I don't think we have much to say about it. We have a seeming say. I like that, a seeming say. Do we not? It makes us, I guess that's good because it makes us feel engaged. Pardon me, it's the thing that makes us feel like we're part of the decision. We have a hand in our decisions. I don't think we have much of a hand. That's what this principle is there to remind me of. Although I barely believe it. And I hold it on faith. I have no evidence to think it's true. And no one else would have any good evidence the other way either. There's too much unknown. That's why I operate like free will isn't true. Okay, then comes maturity and the sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude. We are mature when we wisely remember our past successes and failures. We strive to do better. Then comes the social principle. Everybody, we need each other. We all need each other. We're social creatures. Even though my book is called Going Alone, the point is to be social. After that comes the principle called public speaking, which is a reminder to be very careful about what we say and how we say it and the words that we use. Very deliberate as well. And to never, ever, ever gossip. Then comes temperance, a reminder to be careful about what I consume. This includes things like work and play and sex and, gossip. No, not gossip. Never gossip. Everything. And there's 2 sub-principles. Suffering, because we suffer when we tell ourselves no. And simplicity, because a simple life is a temperate life. After temperance comes a principle called life will not go well. A reminder that life is full of speed bumps, potholes, flat tires. And I should expect that. To expect otherwise is folly. Then comes a principle called the horror show. A simple idea and fact. that life is a terrible, horrible, scary place with awful things happening all around us. And just try to remember that. And to remember and to be understanding and considerate, because the horror is happening to people all around us. And it's coming for you and me too. It's on its way. If it hasn't already arrived, that is. And next comes, after the horror show, comes the Feast of Offal. The Feast of Offal is what happens when we get upset and we spew that upset out into the world. And we let the whole world know about it. It doesn't do really anybody any good. It just soils things. And it robs us of our balance and equanimity and a chance to do better. So I try not to consume it when it's thrown out at me by others, and I try not to throw it at other people. That's why I call it offal. It's like, waste. Imagine all the guts and hair and hide and bones of butchering an animal. Stuff you might grind into sausage. Imagine chowing into that. The Feast of Offal. That's what happens when we chow into the upset of others, or we dish out our upset onto others, and they chow into it. It's a feast. It's a gross feast. It's a damaging feast. It's a poisoned feast, poisoning feast. Best not to indulge in it, and certainly not to ever hold the feast and invite others to join us or force them to come to the table. Okay, next comes two principles: distraction and agency in the great indifference. Distraction is what we do so that we don't have to see that the universe is empty of God, that we're on our own. So we distract ourselves with our work and our play and our hobbies and our church, all to tell ourselves the world has purpose, and death is not real. That's the punchline right there. Death is not real. We don't want to believe that we're going to be gone forever. We're going to die and never come back. We'll never see our loved ones again. So we lie to ourselves, and we tell ourselves all kinds of fictions to mask that. And I know that's rather an extreme thing to say, but I've been studying the question and never found anybody who would have a very good reason to believe that we have a soul, or that there is a God, and that there is any life after death. It seems to me like wishful thinking. Okay, so that was distraction and agency in the great indifference. Next comes the best seat in the house, to be all right here, where I am, who I am, and what I'm doing. Then comes the Path of Wildness, which is an off-ramp from one life into another. It's the way that we go when we want something new. It's the way that the route that we take to get to new living. And that new living that we head for is what I call, results in something I call the great life adventure. And you can have more than one, but I really recommend one in your 20s, a deep one, and then to pepper life with little ones along the way. And then after that comes the risk of avoiding risk. If you don't have a great life adventure and you feel compelled to one, watch out, because it's likely to haunt you all your life and get worse, and you can't really do much about it once you're old. The surface level risk is the stuff that we usually attend to throughout our lives that give us security and satisfy our need to create and raise a family. These are education, career, home, marriage and family, home, and security. A lot of people spend their whole life focusing on that, and that's fine. But if you're one who feels called to a great life adventure, to step upon the path of wildness, then you better do that. And you can do both. We live long enough typically to be able to have a great life adventure in our 20s, and then have the surface level risk, attend to the surface level risk for the rest of our lives. It's possible. Next comes sin and damnation. To speak clearly. There are 7 sins in my worldview, and these relate to being untrue or believing things that are untrue or gossiping. Namely, these are falsity, credulity, faith. Yeah, faith is a sin. Superstition, dogma, authority, and gossip. Doing any of those things results in a form of damnation in the here and now, an immediate damnation. Then comes complete oblivion, the suggestion that after we're dead, there'll be nothing left of us but our atoms and molecules that will dissolve away, be burned up, and there'll be no life to follow. We won't see anybody after we're dead, and there won't be any eternal punishment or reward. Namely, also we'll have no final reunion with the ones we love, no chance to reconcile, and see no justice served. But we won't know about any of that anyway, so no big deal. Now, after a great life adventure, after the complete oblivion comes the season of philosophy, which is a time of life to record what we've learned along the way. And then the bullseye aim. We strive to hit the target, but we usually miss a little bit, sometimes a lot, sometimes we hit it. The uphill climb, a reminder to keep trudging upwards in life. Arena and utility. Life is this arena where we get to develop our onboard principles that help us to live better towards our objectives. Nothing is enough. A reminder that if temperance is good, abstinence may be better. And then finally, the principle of fun. A reminder to have a good time along the way, to attend to the here and now, look forward to the future, and also attend to enjoy the remembrance of the past. And lastly, that was it. Principle of fun. Okay, now, so I did my good life meditation. Now let's plan for the day. I have finished this. I think I'll get up, I'll grab my Benito Cerrito, and then I'll do a book review for that and the Lightning Rod Man. Then I'll get up and I'll read. I think I'm on Ezekiel 4 this morning in the Bible. Then after that, I think I'll sit at my computer and do some computer work. And then maybe I won't do my house cleaning until my wife gets up, and I'll do that while she's upstairs doing her house cleaning. That way the dogs and I can be separated. Yeah, that makes sense. We can keep the dog, because sometimes when she's up there cleaning and I'm working, I kind of do it like that. It doesn't work out so well. Rudy's my dog, and he doesn't like anybody else to be upstairs. As for challenges today, can't think of any that are going to ambush me, that might ambush me, and I think I'm ready for the day. Okay. Let's do this. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care.